Dear students, myself Dr. Fatima Sultana, Associate Professor in Department of Zoology, JDB Government Girls College. Today I am going to take the topic Biogeographic Regions of India. I will be explaining you the various classifications of biogeography of India. As you can see in this map, there are 10 biogeographic regions in India. Trans-Himalaya, Himalaya, Desert, Semi-Desert, Western Ghats, Deccan Peninsula, Gangetic Plain, Coast, Northeast and Islands. These all comprise the total geographical area of India, which is divided into 10 biogeographic regions. Now, these 10 different biogeographic regions and this evergreen rainforest of Western Ghats, endemic hotspot in the southwest, and the biodiversity hotspot of northeast forest. These come under one of the biogeographic regions, one or two, because the total biogeographic, as I have told you, is divided into 10 different, and that is based on some specific classification. As in this Western Ghats and the Northeast forest, these forests are evergreen rainforest. They consist of evergreen rainforest. The hot and dry Thar deserts of Rajasthan in the west and the high altitude cold desert of Trans Himalayas. The blue region which you can see in this, that is the Trans Himalaya. So why we are calling it cold desert? Because it is totally covered with snow, but still it has its own specification. And these areas include the Trans Himalayas in Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh. And we all know about the Thar Desert in Rajasthan. So these are the hot and dry desert and the cold desert. Next comes the mighty Himalayas. Himalayas, we all know that this is the youngest and the highest mountain range in the world. This also has snow covered with numerous scrub forest. Next is the coastal area, which covers the total Gujarat and the Western Ghat area and the coastal area of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Orissa, Sundarbans still. So this consists of the large wetlands and the extensive agriculture countryside that comes under the Gangetic Plain to the Deccan Plateau. You can see in this the green portion. This is of Deccan Plateau. So what we see that the area number 7 and the number 6, that is the Deccan Plateau and the Gangetic Plains. So this contains extensive agriculture countryside. Now, as I have told you, the region of India is divided into 10 biogeographic classifications, and that is based on the climatic conditions, the topography, the geography, the flora and fauna. Depends on these. So every region has a specific flora and fauna, which we'll take in detail. In Trans-Himalayan region, this is an extension of Tibetan Plateau, high altitude cold desert in Ladakh, and Lauhala Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. It comprises of 5.7% of the country's landmass. This region has the richest wild sheep and goat community in the world. It is well known for the quality of wool and wool products. You can see in the photographs the Himalayan goat, Himalayan sheep, and the Himalayan blue sheep, which is also known as bharal. The other fauna are chiru and this black rocked crane. In this, you can see the topography, how it is looking. Mountains, hilly regions, mountainous, and covered with snow. Maximum it is covered with snow. It has very little vegetation. So the specific fauna of this region is bharal and the Himalayan sheep and goat, as well as this black rocked crane. Now the Himalayas, entire mountain chain running from the northwestern to the northeastern India. It comprises of the diverse range of this biotic provinces and biomes, which covers 7.2% of the country's landmass. The common fauna of this Himalayan ranges are wild sheep, mountain goats, shrew, snow leopard, and panda, many of which are endangered. And we know what are endangered species. Those are the species which are highly threatened and are at the verge of extinction. So they need conservation measures should be taken for these species to be conserved. Snow leopard, you can see here it is found in this Himalayan region, and this red panda. These are endemic to this area. The Indian desert. We all get the image of sand dunes when we talk about desert. This is extremely arid area west of the Aravalli Hill Range, comprising both the sultry desert of Gujarat, which is known as Run of Kutch, and the sand desert of Rajasthan. It comprises of 6.9% of the country's landmass. Wild ass is endemic to this region. Wild ass, nowhere it is found only in Run of Kutch. It is also the habitat of Indian bustards. Indian bustard is the state animal of Rajasthan, and this is found only in this area of Jaisalmer region. Projects are running for the conservation of this bird species. Camel, foxes, and snakes, many of which are endangered. Now comes the semi arid zones. This zone is between the desert and the Deccan Plateau. It includes the Aravalli Range, and it covers 15.6% of the country's landmass. The fauna found here are nilgai blackbuck, four-horned antelopes, sambar, cheetal, and spotted deer, which are herbivores along with the predators like Asiatic lion, tiger, leopard, and jackal. Four-horned antelopes, you can see that there are four horns on this antelope. In this, it is clearly seen, two in front and two behind it. Because of these four horns it is having, this is commonly known as four-horned antelope. Blackbuck, again, it is the state animal of Rajasthan. So, this semi arid zone, which covers the portion of Gujarat and Rajasthan, even Kota comes in this semi arid zone. Asiatic lion is endemic to this area. It is found in the Gir National Park in Gujarat. Next comes the Western Ghats. Western Ghats are the mountainous range along the west coast of India, extending over almost 1500 kilometers from Satpena in South Gujarat to the southernmost tip of Kerala. The whole of the India you can see on the western side. It covers the area from Gujarat to the southernmost tip of Kerala. It has good rainfall in this Western Ghats. It is about 2000 millimeter annual rainfall, and this zone has large population of Nilgiri Thar, which is the state animal of Tamil Nadu, Nilgiri Langur, tiger, leopard, and Indian elephant. The grizzled squirrel and lion-tailed macaque are endemic to this region. Nilgiri Thar and Nilgiri Langur are the very specific animals which are found in this zone. And lion-tailed macaque is endemic to this region along with the grizzled squirrel. Deccan Peninsula. This covers much of the southern and south central plateau with a predominantly deciduous vegetation. This area consists of the deciduous forest, thorn forest, and pockets of semi evergreen forest. The fauna found here are cheetal, sambar, nilgai, elephant, sloth bear, blackbuck, and barking deer. This deer is known as barking deer because when it makes sound noise, it seems like a dog is barking, whereas it is the deer which is barking. So the name barking deer is commonly known for this deer. It is the catchment area of major Indian rivers Godavari, Tapti, Narmada, and Mahanadi. Gangetic plains. These plains are relatively homogeneously defined by the Ganga river system and occupy about 11% of the country's landmass. This region is very fertile and extends up to the Himalayan foothills. Fauna includes rhinoceros, elephant, buffalo, swamp deer, and hog deer. You can see the photographs of swamp deer and hog deer. Rhinoceros we all recognize very well because it has the peculiar horn on its nose. Northeast India. This again is a very good hotspot area of India. The plains and non Himalayan hill range of northeastern India are home to a wide variety of vegetation. This region represents the transition zone between Indian, Indo Malaya, and Indo Chinese biogeographical regions and is the meeting point of the Himalayan mountain and peninsular India. Therefore, this northeast area of biogeographical region is also known as the gateway for much of the India's fauna and flora and also biodiversity hotspot, which includes the Indian rhinoceros, leopard, and golden langur. The in the photographs itself you can see the langur, it is glowing like golden color, because of which the name has been given golden langur. Coastal region, we have India has very good coastal region. It has the sandy beaches, mud flats, coral reefs, and mangroves. Mangroves are a particular type of flora which are found in the coastal areas, and these are very specific because they are well known to protect the coastal regions from the various storms and the cyclones. But as the population of these mangroves are declining, the area are facing many natural disasters. Now, the coastline from Gujarat to Sundarbans is estimated to be 5,423 km long. Now, apart from this are 25 islets which constitute the Lakshadweep. These all have very good corals and typical reef lagoon system rich in biodiversity. The fauna includes native crabs, turtles, and tunas. Andaman Nicobar Islands. These Andaman Nicobar Islands, they are in the Bay of Bengal and have highly diverse set of biomes. They are centers of high endemism and contain some of the India's finest evergreen forest and support a wide diversity of corals. Fauna includes the Narcodan hornbills of the Andamans and the South Andaman krait. In this photographs, you can see the South Andaman krait and the Narcodam hornbills. These are endemic to this Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, there are various threats to this biodiversity. Even though India is one of the 17 identified megadiverse countries of the world, still it faces lots of threats. Because of the various natural causes, the human activities, both directly and indirectly, affect the biodiversity because the reason is habitat loss and biodiversity loss. And this is due to the fragmentation and degradation due to agriculture practices or various extractions like mining, fishing, and development for industrialization and urbanization. So, this is all leading to the habitat loss and fragmentation, which is actually scattering the population into minuscule islets of islands. The protected areas, they are becoming far apart. They are not the animals are not able to move from one area to the other area, from one forest area to other forest area, because there is fragmentation of biodiversity. So they are behaving like individual islands. Now the other threats is also that the large mammals, they have specialized diet, they have specialized habitat requirement, and because the size is large and the population is small, their reproductive output is also very little. We can say that mammals also have low reproductive output other than small rodents. Now, for example, if we take the example of lions in Gir National Park, we all know that cat families, the tigers, lions, leopards, they have their own territory. They make their own territory. So they have their home range. Now, for example, in the case of lion, individual home range of lion is 100 square kilometer. So we see that they require large areas and their food is also their requirement is specialized because they need a lot of flesh daily. Their diet is different, and mating is also different and specialized as compared to the smaller mammals. So we see that the major causes of our biodiversity decline are habitat loss, fragmentation and destruction, pollution and pollutants, climate change, introduction of various exotic species, overexploitation, intensive agriculture and aquacultural practices, and hybridization between native and non-native species is leading to the loss of native species. Natural disasters like tsunami, earthquakes, forest fire, volcanoes, industrialization, urbanization, and development of various infrastructure like uh, constructing dam or construction of roads, these activities are also leading to decline of biodiversity. Thank you so much.